The following podcast reflects the views and opinions of the hosts and guests only. They do not reflect the views or opinions of any agency or specific members of an association. At times, colorful language may be used and may be unsuitable for people under the age of 18. Discretion is advised.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 4 of the PPA podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Steve Graham is president of the PPA. With me as always is
Dan Coyne, director on the board of the PPA.
Appreciate you guys. We've been following the people that have been watching and listening to our podcast. It's up on iTunes, it's on Anchor, it's on our YouTube page. If you want to watch the video, you got to like and subscribe to our page. Adela has updated me that we are national now. We've been heard in Canada. We've been heard in Florida, Arizona, Colorado, Texas, California, Utah. So that's just because Adela actually took a road trip, went to all those places, logged in on a Marriott computer, and got us a hit. So it really isn't mean anyone's listening to us at all. But no, we appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate all the positive feedback. We appreciate the negative feedback. Some people have said, hey, maybe you could put in a couple segments. We're going to do one in the future about retirees, maybe how to prolong your life in retirement, what you could be looking to do, taking care of yourself, things like that. But today's show, we got some good. We got no special guest for today's show. It's just going to be Dan and I. We are going to have
John Abel.
John Abel is, as promised, going to eat the Pocky chip. Now, what's the rule? So, what can't he drink?
On the Packy Chip Challenge, you have to do a minimum of 5 minutes without drinking or eating anything. We're going to let him do 2 minutes because of his age.
He's also coming off
ailing health. Yeah,
he's also coming off of a fresh injury where he fell into the bushes because he's trying to eat differently and he passed out. He says he didn't. He says he tripped, but it was, how far was that fall? 17 feet.
It was, I think, 9 inches was the fall. He said it was at least 3 feet, but we went out and measured. It was 9 inches. He's lucky to be alive.
No doubt about it. If we can get clearance from our censor in the back of the room, David, and put that video on our next link so you can all be a judge for yourself. Did he trip or did he just pass out because he's trying not to eat? So we've got some interesting things for the show today, and we're leading up to Christmas. We're going to have another show before Christmas time. Right, Miss Adele? Yeah. We're going to call you Miss Adele from now on because I love it. Miss Adele. And so what do we got here, Dan, for our first we're going to stresses of dealing with COVID and family life. So Dan is in true professional fashion. Dan does all our research. He pulls everything up. I don't even have my iPad here, so you can tell I don't do the research. But we're ready to go every time we pull something up, and Dan briefs me very well.
Wow.
This is all Dan though. He loves the COVID. He loves health and safety. He's going to talk about some of that stuff and some of the issues that some of our cops and corrections officers face.
So as first responders, we have to go to work. A lot of Americans are staying at home. They don't have the workplace stress; they just have that family life stress. But us, our kids now, they don't go to school, right? School's been shut down. A lot of your family members are staying at home now as well. We don't have first responders in the family. So a lot of the families being submerged with, 24/7 crazy kids. My son, my 3-year-old, is a wild animal, gets on my wife's nerves, all that. So we have people staying at home that aren't used to it, stuck inside. Movies aren't open up. They don't have those outlets. So they're dealing with a lot of that stress as well as organizational stress from police departments or their employers, new rules, ours coming from Health and Shady on, hey, if you're exposed by a family member, you got to stay at home. So a lot of our employees are dealing with the stress of the homeschool, recreational places being closed down, no outlets, and then from work, extra workload. So I don't have kids in school, so I don't have to deal with that. You have kids in school. Are they being homeschooled right now?
They are, yeah. It's interesting, the dynamic of how the homeschooling is going. So I've got 4 daughters, 2 in high school, 2 in elementary school. Definitely varying levels of involvement from teaching. Listen, I'm not a teacher. I can't profess to know how hard it is right now going through what we're going through. But I do know when regular school was going, my kids didn't have every Wednesday off, and now my kids in high school have no Wednesday school. They'll go sometimes to class for 20 minutes of an hour-long class, and they'll say, okay, you're done. Just do some work at home. So I'm not sure the level of learning that they're getting, especially because 3 of my 4 are getting straight A's, and they're not bright. They're not bright at all. So there's
What'd they get last year?
I think one of them got kicked out of school. The other one was home taught by me. She failed also. They're not bright kids. They're my children. I love them to death, but they're not very bright. So to see that they're getting straight A's, there's got to be something going on. I'm just kidding. But it's tough. They miss the social interaction. Yeah. They miss seeing friends. They miss playing sports. They miss my daughter's the freshman, and she's in student council, but they can't get together and do things. So like you said, the stress of sitting at home, and then that filters to my wife and I, who work full time. And so now we've got to help them and deal with them as well as our work stresses like you were talking about.
It's added. I mean, I have an online degree, so I know a little bit more, about the online schooling, and it's not the same caliber. Not
University of Phoenix?
No, it was the Bulldogs, Redlands Community College.
University of Redlands, go Bulldogs.
We also have Brian Gramis, part of the alumni.
2-week attendee at the University of Redlands on a football scholarship.
Prestigious school. But no, it's definitely less of a caliber of learning when you can Google the answers on a test and get the work done, 2 hours worth of work in 20 minutes. I don't think the kids are learning what they need to be doing. So on to our next one. Do we have any updates about the COVID-19 and PPA versus LVMPD negotiations right now?
So we filed an EMRB complaint. For those that aren't aware what EMRB is, it's kind of the controlling body of the land when it comes to employee negotiations. So we filed after Chief McMahill's video about discipline will arise if you come to work with any symptom related to COVID, potentially a suspension. And so it was our belief that we should be negotiating all those things. There's a lot of ancillary things, bonus time, sick time, staying at home sick even though you feel fine and they don't want you at work. So we filed it. I believe, David, we were the first ones to file anything related to COVID time, correct? And then we had a lot of people reaching out saying, hey, we also want to be involved. We want to take part in this because other people apparently are having issues too. We were just the first ones at the trough to file something. Subsequently, since then, I sat down and talked with Sheriff Lombardo and had a good conversation. He said, listen, we'll sit down and we'll negotiate this stuff. So
good.
For those wondering, we have added it to our negotiations for the COVID issue. We still have our EMRB case out there pending, but we're going to try and work our way through it through negotiations and see where we go from there.
Well, hopefully something comes out of that. The next one that we have is health and safety, or other known names would be health and shady, as a lot of employees are calling them now, because they're calling them up. They're doing what they're supposed to do per that video. They're reporting a runny nose. They're reporting getting sick or contacts off duty, and they're being honest about it, and SOCs are being opened up based on these conversations with health and safety or health and shady. So we wanted to reach out with our employees and let them know how to deal with health and safety when they're talking with these people. What do you recommend, Steve?
It's funny. We've talked about this for the last week or so, and it really just kind of hits me now that, they're having conversations that could end up with discipline. And it has now ended up in discipline.
People have been relieved of duty.
Yeah. So, with our legal here, David in the background, David, when an officer calls health and safety and they start asking questions that they know could be discipline related, do they have to answer those questions in your opinion, David, or is that something they have to give them notice or that they could reasonably believe discipline could arise? Yeah, right. There was a national case with emails, wasn't there, where cops were told they have to check their emails?
FLSA electronic correspondence, was there just emails, text messages, and phone calls, where if you're taking phone calls, emails, or placing them off duty and the department not only mandates it but just allows it, say, hey, you don't have to do it, but you're allowed to do it, you have to be compensated at time and a half. And I think we should start doing that. I called up health and safety and asked them the questions they asked these employees, and they said the first thing we ask them is if you've had any symptoms of COVID, and they went through the symptoms with me. There was like 30 symptoms. It's like, you were sore one day, or stuffy nose, or heartburn, diarrhea, like any symptom you can imagine that has, I don't think, anything related with COVID. If you say yes to it, and did you come to work when you were sore or had a stuffy nose, and they answer yes, then they're being SOC'd.
Yeah, man, it's problematic. Like I said, for us, balancing keeping people healthy and looking out for them, and then, oh yeah, hey, we're also potentially disciplining you from what you're telling us, is problematic from our standpoint. So I guess for anyone listening, I mean, I'll reach out, since this kind of came to me while we were sitting here. I'll reach out to the department and say, hey, listen, this is another aspect of bargaining. It's got to happen. These people, you can't expect them to be truthful, but then you bang them because they came to work. And we've been saying this all along. Officers are coming to work. There was a time in my career where they said, hey, I don't care how you feel, you need to come in. We need cops here.
Yeah.
Come in sick, come in. I get it with the
they
thought.
were disciplining officers
Yeah.
for calling off when they were sick.
Yes.
More than a certain amount of times in a year.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that now all of a sudden they just forget about that and they want you to call off.
Yeah. So for all our folks that listen to this, we'll keep banging away at it. Any of the national folks that are interested in how we're moving along, feel free to reach out, and hopefully we can get some reasonable resolution to what we're doing here as it relates to COVID.
All right, on to our next topic.
Well, hold on, before we get off of that, do you get a lot of people calling you saying, hey, is our city going to get shut down? I mean, we look at LA got shut down. Now I think it's like 85% of California is under a mandatory stay-at-home order. I've gotten people, hey, Steve, what do you think? What do you think? This morning I was getting my hair cut, and my barber, Steve, at Windy City Barbers, good haircuts in case you're in town. You like a regular barber shop. But
they did a great job on you today.
I think so. But, small business owner there, he's like, can I survive? And, I recall back when COVID started, and we at the time, we had the okay by the governor, and then he backdoored us and said, I never gave you the okay, which is fine, whatever. But Windy City came out, and they cut a bunch of cops' hair and stuff like that. So, again, small business wondering, hey, Steve, you guys are kind of in the know. Do you think we're going to get shut down? And I don't know what to tell people. I don't know what our governor does.
No, I mean, I don't know why he does it. Everything he's done so far is just hurting small businesses, hurting the pocketbooks of citizens of this state. And it's a hard time to be a small business owner. My wife was telling me that last night. She feels bad for all these people who invested their life savings and started a business at this time, and then the governor shuts everything down and they lose everything. It's sad.
Well, how does a business reasonably run at 25% occupancy? I mean, I read a study that said 50% occupancy still can't get them to pay the bills.
No.
Now 25%. Again, we're just going to decimate our city, our state, our country potentially over. Hey, give it 2 weeks, stay at home for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You got the one governor telling people stay at home, don't leave your home, and he's doing it from Cabo?
Yeah,
he was at his daughter's wedding, I think they said. Well, I'm here in Cabo telling you stay at home.
Same thing
but
with our governor.
I'm traveling.
He's drawing the plans up to shut down the state from his Halloween party.
Yeah, I heard about that, and that's all hearsay. Of course, we don't know, but rumor was he was telling people leave your phones in a bucket so that you can't take photos of this. But I don't know if that's true. Could be true. Could be false. I don't know. But it's just as we talk through this COVID thing, man, it just keeps. Of course, we all keep working, right? We're needed. Cops, corrections, got to keep working. Our cops went out there when this all started, put their lives on the line, being exposed to PPE. Our folks at the jail are still working modules with people that are COVID positive.
What's crazy is health and safety in the department says if you've even come in contact with somebody who's COVID positive, or if you have a stuffy nose, you can't leave your house. You're on lockdown inside your house. However, we have a module with 50 or 60 COVID positive people who are actually COVID positive, these inmates, and they let them come out on free time and walk around, because they don't want to be restrictive on them, but they have no problem being restrictive with their employees.
Another question I've been getting from people is, so when the vaccine is made available, will it be mandatory for us to take it? Some people don't want to take it. I don't know if I'd take it.
No, I wouldn't take it.
No, I don't know. I don't blame people for taking it, but what do they say? We're going to get like 164,000 to our state doses of the vaccine.
Yeah, there's a big rollout going on. They're trying to figure out who's going to get it first. At one point, they wanted inmates to get it before grocery workers. But when it comes, there's not going to be any track record of the side effects or the long-term effects of it, and it makes me wonder if they're going to mandate our children to get it before returning to school. But it's scary.
So that's what I tell people, and David in the back of the room, you can probably chime in on this if I'm accurate or I'm not accurate. You often will tell me, I think I'm right, and you'll go, not even close, Steve, here's the truth. But a lot of people, kids for school, they can mandate you have vaccines to come to school. Maybe Smiths could probably mandate, since they don't have like a contract or a collective bargaining. Whereas for us, if they said, hey, you have to take it, otherwise you could be terminated, that couldn't be something, in your opinion, Dave, that could just be rolled out, do you think? Like, that's a mandatory subject. We're talking about discipline and discharge. If they said, take the shot or get terminated, they can't just roll that. Thanks, David. I like to defer to you on a lot of that stuff as a very successful trial lawyer, district attorney.
World's greatest legal minds.
He put OJ in jail for stealing his own shit back. I say that to everybody, and that was amazing that he was able to pull that off. So all right, we hammered COVID enough, and as you guys keep getting, remember podcast at lvppa.com is our email. You can send us things. You can be in Canada and send us a question. You can be in Mexico. You can be in New York. Hey, if there's something you want us to address, if you have a pro law enforcement business out there that wants to get some recognition, we'll give you a shout out. Sponsor today, again, in true fashion of our sponsors, they have no idea they're sponsors of the
Winchell's
show.
Donuts, yep, they stepped up. They filled the sponsorship slot this session. Great donuts. What we get?
So they're the only ones that carry a. It's not a. That's the one. So they're the only place that carries a peanut donut on. So it's not the hard cake. What is that one, Adela? The puff pastry.
Yeah. It's delicious.
It's a good. You need milk, but that's a good donut. I can't eat those. I have a bodybuilding competition coming up in a week and a half, so I got to cut out the carbs and the sweets. But thanks to Winchell's for giving us this dozen donuts that we paid full price for, and you had no idea you'd be on the show. But thanks for partnering with us. Cops like donuts, they say. So,
yeah.
All right, what do we got next, buddy?
So next is the San Francisco Police Union clears the way for police-free responses to some calls. So the president of the police union, I believe it's, what's his name, Tony Montoya. He cleared the way for 17 types of calls for service in police, for the police department not to handle, it's for civilians to handle. And these calls are behavioral, mental health crises, homeless problems, traffic problems, parking. The biggest thing I'd say is the homeless. Like, a lot of people don't realize they're violent. These guys are out. Most of them are multiple-time ex-felons, and you're going to have civilians handle these calls. What else here? The mental health, too. I mean, a lot of those times they're violent people. They're dealing with a crisis going on, and you're going to send out civilians who are unarmed to handle this.
Yeah, I've had this conversation with people, and listen, I'm an advocate for police departments getting more resources. Definitely not chopping them or defunding them like we've seen across the country in places, right? But if you took a patrol officer and said, hey, you're going out to a homeless camp, we should have a resource with us. Once we make it safe for a civilian to come in and talk about alternatives and things like that, that's great. That could free up an officer to go out and handle real calls for service and that. But to turn people loose on just a mentally ill person and say, hey, just go up there and talk to them cold they don't know who you are, and that could lead to us having more problems. So, when you look at things, traffic too, You know, you go up and write a traffic ticket. We look at our volunteers. Our volunteers go out and they do the handicap parking tickets.
Yeah.
Typically, it's when no one's around the car
Yeah.
because you don't want the confrontation. You don't know if that car's stolen. You don't know if the registered owner just killed a family member and now there's a police presence there writing the ticket and they want to take out the violence on them because they think they're going to jail. You don't know. So you can't just say, oh, yeah, all this stuff is just so nice and let's let unarmed civilians go out and handle this stuff. But having them as a resource doesn't hurt.
Well, when I was working downtown, I was approached by more business owners, small business owners, than anywhere I've ever worked. And it was in frustration of the homeless problem. They said, hey, these guys are camping outside of my store. They're defecating where I'm doing business. And when I go up and say something to them, they attack me. They come in the business. They don't pay for something. When they put them on blast about it, they get attacked. And we're going to send civilians out here. I think maybe training the police officers and more mental health capacity maybe and still be armed, it would be safe, but I don't feel safe sending civilians out to any call with homeless people.
No, I agree with you. And side note, so I told Adela before the show started, my mom's 70 years old. And so yesterday I was at her house with my kids and we were making Christmas cookies or whatever. And so she told me that her phone, when it rings, instead of a ringer, it says the name of who's calling. And so, of course, knowing that, I then took my brother's contact, my contact, and changed the names into things that my mother probably doesn't want to hear. And she just texted me and said, I saw all your crazy ass adjustments to my contact list. Thank you. So had to throw that in there that she now has some weirdos calling her, but it's actually her sons. Yeah, but no, you're right. I mean, there's cop stuff and then there's civilian stuff. Introduce the civilians when you can, but cops still need to be out there. But we realize you can't arrest your way out of a homeless problem. But when a homeless guy's threatening people, you need cop response.
You know, and I think it's just another way to start the defund of the police movement. San Francisco, they're losing tens of thousands of residents every year because it's not a nice place to live because the homeless problem, the crime problem that they're dealing with. So I think it's just going to backfire in their face like everything they've done in the last 10 years has. All right, Steve, so our next topic is an LAPD sergeant files a lawsuit over repeatedly being disciplined for personal social media posts. And, I mean, this is something I believe is a violation of our officers' First Amendment. I don't like the censorship I get on the show.
Yeah.
I don't like the censorship that the department does on our social media. We've had officers disciplined in the past for, putting their own opinions on social media. I mean, it seems like you can't be a person. You don't have a voice. You don't have the same freedoms that, normal citizens have. And I understand being held to a higher standard, but I think it goes too far. So Sergeant Sidama, he's got two suspensions for posting about Nipsey Hussle and Brett Kavanaugh to the U.S. Supreme Court. He said his opinions run counter to the LAPD's political stance, so that's why he was disciplined. What are your thoughts on this?
So I'm looking at some of his posts, and it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not, he's not bad-mouthing his police department. He's not bad-mouthing his supervision. He's not condoning violence from what I'm reading. He's just, stating some opinions on some of the things like you said, Kavanaugh or even Nipsey Hussle. I mean, this one to me looks like, yeah, they a little far. The one here, the bottom line is that he chose the lifestyle that ultimately killed him, and it wasn't the great guy lifestyle that so many people are making it out to be now that he's gone. Talking about Nipsey Hussle, I mean, yeah, I'm sure some people don't like the fact. I know Nipsey Hussle was big in his community. People really like the guy. I don't know him, never listened to his music, but
I never heard of him before he was shot.
Yeah.
I mean, before he was shot, I never heard of him.
Yeah, he was never on Lethal Action or anything like that. But I mean, that doesn't bang the drum of, hey, you brought discredit to the police department because you said the lifestyle someone was in ended up getting them killed. I think there's some overreach there, maybe, especially, and that guy's in L.A., right?
Yeah, LAPD.
And that's where I think Nipsey was killed in California, and he was big in California, so you probably got a lot of blowback from that one. I think that one's a stretch. I mean, like you said, we can't do things that bring discredit to our agency, that bring discredit, that we're being insubordinate and bad-mouthing people on there. I get that's been held up. David will just nod in agreement, but that's been held up in courts that we do have a restricted right for what we can post as far as social media or say. But this one, I don't think hits the nail of.
Usually,
Jesus.
there's a huge double standard. If he would have went on and said how great of a person these people were, and it was within line of their department's political, standards, I don't think he'd be getting disciplined. And it's same thing with our department. I've seen stuff on the news recently that I'm like, wow, that's pretty offensive. But the department doesn't take up a stance on it because it's in line with what they want.
Yeah. And then hold on. Considering the circumstances, there's no way that Kavanaugh can be proven guilty. So, long O's and a question mark. Again, if that's what you're getting banged on, I mean, yeah, Jesus, like still have a right to talk, for God's sakes. I mean,
yeah,
that if that's it, if that's what they say got him in trouble, I mean, come on, L.A., you got to be better than that. All your people are going to leave, and they're going to come to Vegas, and they're going to work for the best police department in the country, not the second or third or eighth, whatever. What does it say? The suit contends a public employee simply cannot be subjected to discipline or retaliation consistent with our Constitution for the statements that Sergeant made about Nipsey Hussle. LAPD cannot take a position. Expression of opinions praising Mr. Hussle is allowed. This is to your point, but expression, hey, he was such a pioneer in the community and should have never been gunned down. If you say that, nobody cares. If you say, hey, this person was involved in a lifestyle that, eventually caught up to him and somebody took issue with him from a rival group and took a shot at him, that gets you disciplined? I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so he filed his lawsuit on the 16th of November, so it's still pretty fresh. I'm going to go ahead and reach out and see if we can find any more information on it and just follow how it ends, because it's something that our officers have been disciplined over as well.
Yeah, I mean, and hell, maybe we could even, Adela, try and reach out to Sergeant Sidiyama and say, hey, would you mind coming on here and talking about what you went through? Like, what are all the true posts? Because we do know that a lot of people put things out, oh, this is what he did, this is what he said, and it turns out that's not true. That's not even close to what happened. So maybe the sergeant would like to Zoom in or Skype in and say, hey, this is or maybe he'll say, I never heard of your podcast, leave me alone. Who knows?
He's probably heard of us.
Oh, guaranteed. I mean, we're huge in L.A.,
Yeah.
huge in that market because they're all confined to home and they can't leave.
All right, our next one, New Mexico state police officer gets shot and she doesn't quit.
This is an awesome video of resilience and the true warrior mentality. And there was a while where people said we shouldn't have a warrior's mentality. Listen, when you wear a bulletproof vest to work and carry a gun, you have to have a warrior's mentality. There's going to be some things that go on in your shift, your work life, that you're going to have to be a warrior and fight through. And so set this one up, Dan. Where are we at? We're on a freeway, it looks like.
Yeah, so we're on a freeway in New Mexico, I believe, in between some tribal jurisdictions, pulling over a white Ford F-150. Is it a Ford F-150?
Looks like a Chevy to me.
Chevy? No. GMC, okay. I was going to say something about Ford drivers, but I'm going to refrain from that.
Don't you drive a Ford?
Yes. Didn't have an option. So she's walking up to the door right now, gets to the passenger door, and a gunshot breaks the glass. She falls on the ground, gets up, and returns fire as the truck's fleeing.
Take that back, Adela. God, if that doesn't just, I mean, the first time I saw it, my head jumps back from what you think is that round coming. I mean, one that shows you that there's no routine. She probably does traffic stops up on the freeway all the time. Come up on the passenger side, hey, window comes down, and then this happens. But, phew.
So it ends up striking her in her left hand. She gets up, returns fire.
Yeah.
A lot of rounds, good. Runs back to her car. She radios in. Then she gets in the driver's seat and continues to pursue. So she's got a lot of adrenaline going on right now, so she's using her left hand. But as the video goes on, She starts to lose the use of her left hand. She deploys her rifle. She chases a car down. They stop the car. Another car pulls up behind her, ends up being the suspect's father. He says, "Hey, that's my son." She's like, "Oh, your son just shot me." Pats dad down. Dad's like, "Oh, what an idiot." Finally, they challenge the shooter's car. He gets out, and she actually takes him into custody herself, placing the handcuffs on herself. She did a great job. She's a warrior.
Look, still radio traffic. Yeah, hopped in the car. Let's go get this guy. Using her left hand drive. I don't care, adrenaline or not. I mean, you see the blood coming down her hand. I mean, that is just, dude, that's amazing. Never been shot. I've been shot at a little bit, but nothing I don't think was close. Could have been close. I don't know. But this is exactly what police work is about.
She's by herself and doesn't have backup. And actually, I think a tribal police officer finally comes in and helps her. But no, she was there to win that day. She was there to go home.
So I always tell people like that's got to be one of the toughest jobs is like highway patrol, because you have no back. Like you don't have other units on the channel waiting to be right around the corner, just stopping by. Your next backup could be 30 minutes away.
Especially in some of the rural spots, in New Mexico, there's long stretches where there's nothing. Same thing with Nevada, northern Nevada.
Yeah,
scary.
Man, good for her.
Is this one of the situations they were talking about where a civilian would do traffic?
Or what?
Where you guys said like 2 segments ago where.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Is this one of those situations?
Yeah, if you're talking about, look, you can just do car stops on people as a civilian. You don't need to be a police officer. You can give them civil driving tickets or whatever it may be. Yeah, tell that to the guy that just shot at this cop.
And I believe the statistics for officer-involved shootings was number 2. It started by a traffic stop. I think number 1 was domestic situations, and the second was traffic stops. And I believe Timothy McVeigh was stopped on expired license plate. So
freeway sniper shooters stopped. They were in a car.
It was a DC sniper?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I mean that is the biggest unknown. God, she's so fucking awesome. That is so badass, man. You have any thought that women can't do a job or guys that are small can't do a job? Listen, it ain't about size, gender. It's about what kind of fight you got in you. And that lady's got some fucking fight in her.
She's got heart.
Man, yeah, that's. I'd love to just say, talk us through what your mindset was. Like, you got hit and what happened. Like, and you said, "No, I'm not just gonna sit here. We got to go get this asshole." And oh man, that is awesome. That's the shit, Adele. We need more of those videos.
Yeah. And
maybe people coming through, man.
Yeah.
That's stuff that we need to see. We had an incident at the jail where the officer was attacked. The person got the mount on him. I mean, the fight was on, and while you're always trained for it, you don't expect it to happen. And when it happens, you're kind of, all right, the first thing I got to do is recognize what's going on, and then it's, all right, I'm just gonna lay here. I'm gonna put some back on you. And man, you said it, man. She's a straight up warrior. It's so awesome.
Yeah, and maybe we can get Winchell's, our sponsor, to go out and send their station, a few dozen donuts.
Yes, that would be awesome. Yeah, very cool video.
All right, next segment, our Christmas dinner. Tell us a little bit about the Christmas dinner, how many families we're looking to feed this year. It's going to be our first Christmas dinner, but our Thanksgiving dinner was such a success. We wanted to move into Christmas and see if we can help some people.
Yeah, so we did we partnered up with Albertsons, we partnered up with Station Casinos, and we did 100 Thanksgiving dinners. First time the PPA had ever done this, but wanted to really give back to not just our membership, but our community, to show them that the police and even the union are still a part of the community. So through Adela, she worked her butt off. We were able to give out 100 families turkeys, stuffing, vegetables, potatoes, all that. And then Stations kicked in a $50 gift card to Albertsons for everybody as well. So it was a really cool, humbling event. We had one gentleman reached out to Adela and started breaking down, crying about, hey, listen, COVID has affected my family so much. I did not know how I was going to feed my kids for Thanksgiving. And to have us come through was really fun. I got to do a delivery out to the north part of town and dropped off to a lady there, older lady. And, because of COVID, she said, I really want to give you a hug, but she just kind of air hugged herself and just broke down in tears, because it meant a lot that people were thinking about others. So that segued us, of course, into, hey, we got Christmas. It's another holiday that people are still affected. Now, I mean, we're continuing to dial back how many people can be in businesses. That's going to inherently affect how many people are working at the businesses. So now we're shooting for 150 families for our members. So what we'd like for all of our folks and anyone listening to this, if you know a family that is in need, we had some folks that were nominated, and when we reached out to them, they're like, "Listen, I'm a single man. I don't need anything. I'd rather go to a family." If you know a family that's in need, that lost their jobs, having a tough time, you know, it's not a funny topic. There's just an inside joke with Adela and how people are selected. But if you know someone like that, all you got to do is email us and say, "Hey, here's the family, here's a phone number." Reach out to them. Adela handles it from there, and then we're hopeful to do the 150 families. When's our delivery date?
The 19th.
19th of December. So we have until the 16th? 16th to get people's names in. So next Wednesday or so. So if you know any, please shoot them to us. We will do all the contact from there. But you know, it was a really heartwarming thing for us to do. If you know any community partners, or if you are any community partners that want to partner with us, if we could go from 150 to 200 or 200 to 300, we'll do it. We'll handle everything else. We just need people to partner with us. If you want to be a part of it, reach out to us, and we're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. All right, the next one is PPA, what we do for officers working on the Strip in downtown on New Year's Eve. So it's my understanding the department's still doing a full rollout on New Year's Eve this year, where they're blocking off the streets, they're letting people come out and celebrate New Year's. However, the Las Vegas Convention Center Authority president canceled the fireworks, but people are going to still be out there.
Yeah, when I met with Sheriff Lombardo and we talked about that, I said, "Hey, what's the deal?" He said, "Listen, we're going to still plan as though it's a go, because if all those people show up to Vegas and we're not ready for it, which, you know, in true Metro fashion, we'd rather get ready for it and have it not happen than not be ready for it and have it happen."
Absolutely.
So what I'm hearing is Spring Mountain to Reno is the only blocked off area. We're not going to go further north on the Strip. It's going to stop at Spring Mountain.
Okay.
But full rollout, giving people the streets. So the PPA will be out there in our normal spots this year as we've been in the past.
Okay, what are we going to do for the officers? We bring out hot chocolate, right? Coffee?
So with the department's help, they give us their little ATVs. We mount. This year we're going to mount a 10-gallon thermos on the back of each ATV, fill it with hot chocolate, and a 5-gallon thermos with hot coffee. We'll also do food deliveries. At each station, we'll have 911 Tacos will be there doing, what are we doing, burritos and Phillies or sandwiches, stuff like that. Things that are easy to transport.
Awesome.
You can get them at the locations. Our 3 locations usually are Cable Center, right? That's Cable Center.
Cable Center, right, yeah.
Cable Center, Caesars, and then under the white tent down on Fremont Street. That's where Myron and Chad usually are. So we'll be at those. We'll be there with hot food, hot drinks, but then we'll also go out, and I think, Dan, you and I are going to be the ones driving around, giving people on their posts hot coffee, hot chocolate, hot food, whatever we can get to them so that it can make the night a little more bearable.
Yeah, usually it's freezing. I've been out there plenty of times, and you're cold, so if you see us driving around, stop by, say hi, grab a cup of coffee. On to the Twitter comments from our first podcast. I guess we have a Twitter page. So actually, there's 3 good comments I like up here. The best one was from Build Pod Better at Build Pod Better. He says, "Oh,
can you say that 3 times fast?
Build Pod Better at Build Pod Better." So they're referencing, if you want to pull up the picture, yeah, the Lay's potato chips in the background. It says, "Oh, that's an interesting way to store Lay's barbecue chips, but okay."
Where's it at? I can't see it.
See right there? It's the Thanksgiving garland that we had up there. But
he thought those were chips?
It's a great idea. We should put some clear inserts in there and film with barbecue chips for our meetings.
Okay, you think we got
good idea?
All right, yeah.
Another one I like, nice masks. This is from Vegas Strong 702. Great masks, or nice masks, great social distancing, setting the example like you always do. And then Drew, he actually had a solution to that. He says, how about panty masks for everyone? So those are 2 funny ones. I don't know. The social distancing and the mask thing, I don't agree with. Everybody has their own thoughts on it. The governor says it saves lives, but everybody's wearing masks now and they're still getting sick, right? So, and then great use of taxpayer funds from PDX Kick Ass. I'm all for making sure you guys get paid fairly and enough for equipment, but this smells like fuckery to me. Well, this is not taxpayer funds, so union funds.
Yeah.
So, but thanks for the good comments, everybody. I looked at their pages, and they were pretty much all defund the police people, except for Drew. He's the panty mask one.
We dumped Trump. Oh, you already let that whack job taint it.
Yeah, she's
great. Oh, those are fun. Oh, we got Trina Sears with just a smile. I think that's a smile. Is that a smile emoji?
I think she liked
Yeah.
the page.
Steve, you know you have a Twitter account, correct?
I have a Twitter account? How do I have a Twitter account?
It says at Steve Grammas LVPPA.
What does that mean?
Just wanted to make sure you knew your.
How do I
fake
log
account.
in? Do you think you know my password if I was to ask you?
I'm pretty sure.
Is that my Twitter? What do I do on there?
You tweet.
Who tweets it? Well, who's that pictures? No, it's LVPPA. What did they like tag me?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, Gorman. No, we got to get that off there. Bishop Gorman. What is that? Oh, that was when they. Oh, that's. Hey, quiet back there. No, you don't want to. That was when. Yeah, that's right. That's when they had a team from Miami here, and they couldn't fly home, and so 9/11 Tacos went out and fed these kids, and Bishop Gorman put them up, and yeah, shout out to the hospitality of Bishop Gorman. Always good guys, good camp. Good people over there now. There's a young man over there coaching named Nico that I coached when he was 8 years old. Great young man. So we hope that football will start soon. But so what I got to do on this Twitter thing? Do I don't even. How'd you get in? Did you know my password?
Strangely enough.
Was it that? It was the same one? For those that don't know, I use the exact same password for everything. So if you can crack it, you're going to get access to my.
luck.
You're going to get exact access to my. You're going to see how much of a 100-air I am. I get $200 in the bank account.
Be more active.
Okay, so I got to get more active on Twitter, but I have Twitter.
All right, so on to good boss, bad brass.
Did we not have anything from the Frank Mir?
No, that was just from the first one.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Commented on the other one.
You look nice, Dan. You have a good smile. You always smile so well. Yeah, so you get that full mouth smile.
Thank you.
Me, I have too much gums, so I don't like to smile with my
Like
teeth because it's weird.
Gumby syndrome.
Yeah, I don't like it. And I have more fake teeth in my mouth than I have real ones. So I'd rather just do like I'm having a medical episode maybe, but not. All right, we're off Twitter. Well, before we get to what everyone is going to want to see, Myron Hamm, our director of corrections, has some issues I think down at CCDC booking.
Breaking news.
Yeah, we didn't have him on the flow chart, but he'd like to jump in and have a conversation about some of the issues at CCDC and booking.
5 minutes earlier, he kicked the door in. He just got back from booking. He was so upset about this.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn my headset over to Myron, and so Dan and Myron can talk about the issues going on down there, and I'll go check on my Twitter page, see how it's going.
Fit in there?
Yeah, it'll fit.
Okay. Thanks, Steve.
This is Myron Hamm. He also has a great smile. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Myron. Tell the viewers about yourself.
Hi, I'm Myron Hamm. I'm Director of Corrections with the Las Vegas Police Protective Association. Been a rep for about 12 years. Been up here on the board for about 4. Just happy to be here.
Myron Hamm also trained me up here. I learned from the best.
That is accurate.
So tell me about we were down at booking on I believe Friday night, and what we saw was shocking.
Part of our job up here is to save jobs, not just to, try to stave off discipline and things like that. Our job is to ensure people are not getting in trouble and to ensure that they are taking the necessary steps to keep themselves employed. Our job, we're not social activists. We're not going to lead a protest march or anything like that. Our job up here is to save a job and to keep these guys employed and these young people that are employed. And booking is a place that I worked in booking earlier in my career. I've been on for about 20 years now, and I worked in booking for years. And booking was always a place where difficult to work in. There's nuances that happen down there. Things are constantly changing. Supervision is constantly changing. Leadership is constantly changing. So everything happens in booking for a reason. So we went down to booking the other night to talk to a young man who is having some issues down there. We went down there just to give him some counseling. And, to coin a phrase from my illustrious friends here, it was a shit show. It was bad to see down there what was going on. There was a guy sitting in the chair, and this guy sitting in the chair,
There's actually 4 people sitting in the restraint chairs.
Well, the one I'm pointing out first is the one that kept calling me a cracker and a peckerneck.
Peckerwood.
Whatever, I can't.
I was
don't know.
standing behind you. I think he was talking to me.
You think so? Yeah. I think he was calling me the pecker word, but that's just me. Guy was just screaming and yelling. He'd been assaulted in a cell by another inmate, not by an officer. And there were 3 other people sitting in chairs that had been placed in restraint chairs, and it was just a mess. The sergeants were coming in and out of the office. They looked disheveled. The place was crowded. There had to be, 70, 80 people?
At least. And booking is the place where these guys they're just been arrested. They're coming off the street. They go in the first part. They're putting, belly chains for maybe an hour, 2 hours. They sit there. And then they go to the next phase where they're taken out of belly chains and they're fingerprinted. And we're sitting at the station where they're being fingerprinted. And these guys are still high, drunk, still up here. They haven't had that time to calm down. And tell them what we saw.
Well, the problem is that you see 2 females and 2 young ladies that are not officers. They're DSTs, which is a detention services technician.
So they're civilians.
They're civilians, and they are fingerprinting these guys that are just coming in off the street. They are having direct inmate contact with these inmates. They're putting their hands on them. They're giving them direction. Hey, stand here. Give me this hand. Give me that finger. They're giving them direction. You have people that have been arrested by cops. These young ladies are in there wearing smocks with LVMPD patches on them. They don't care who they are and why they're there. They just know that they're working for the police department, and they're part of the entity that's keeping you in at that moment. So lo and behold, we're thinking, wow, this is kind of a messed up system. How did it get to this point? Well, we know how it got to this point. It got to this point because a couple of years ago, the department wanted to hire some lesser trained officers and call them DOs, which is a detention officer. Well, unfortunately for them, they went up against the PPA, and we managed to beat back the hiring of this DO position because it was something that they were trying to backdoor, like they normally do, and just put out there. Well, now what they did was instead of hiring DOs, they took 2 positions away from booking. They took those 2 fingerprint spots away.
So 2 commissioned officers used to do this, right?
Right. It used to be 2 commissioned officers. They would be out there, and that means they were also available for response, things like that if a fight broke out. Because when we were there, how many times did you see officers just running down the hallway?
Yep, fights were breaking out. They were throwing people in the chair, and that's what left the gap where these 2 female civilians were with more than likely violent felons by themselves.
Correct. They were
no
by
officers
themselves.
present. And, I mean, they could be murderers. They don't say, hey, this guy just killed somebody. We're going to let an officer do it. No, they let these civilians do it. And we've had multiple occasions in the last year where these girls were attacked by the inmates, and there still hasn't been a change.
Not only attacked, they are sexually harassed. They're made offers of sexual favors.
Grabbed.
Grabbed, groped, things like that. It's happening right down there in front of us. But no one seems to think that this is a bad idea. When we brought this up a couple of years ago, the captain at the time and I think it was the labor relations director at the time, they said that, oh no, they would be totally safe. Our people would be safe and no one would get hurt and there would always be an officer there. Well, the officer that was there that night, and in her defense, she's watching this room plus having to watch the fingerprint section as well.
And a fight's going on.
So she can't do 4 things at one time. And when I asked the DST, I said, hey, if something were to happen in here right now, you were to get attacked by this guy over here, you're fingerprinting, the guy that's about 6'3", 6'4",
yeah,
twice her size, what would you do? Oh, we have an officer here. And I looked around and I asked her, where? And she said, right there. And she pointed around a pillar and over into the corner. I said, well, yeah, the officer's out there in the lobby. So where's your backup? Where's your protection? And she said, I don't know. I just get paid to be here.
And almost every time we go down there, we talk to these girls. And actually, we're approached by them asking us to help them. They said, hey, we don't feel safe. We're getting attacked. I don't want to come to work, in tears because they don't feel safe. And they're asking us for help, saying, hey, our union doesn't help us. They don't have a problem with this. It's time for it to stop. It's time for it to change. Nobody should go to work scared of being attacked or groped or sexually assaulted because the department wanted to save some money.
And that's all it is. It's a way to save some money. It's a way to save a couple of bucks. It's a way for them to push things off. But the day someone gets hurt, that's when the first thing the department's going to do is they're going to look for someone to blame.
They've been hurt. It's just how bad now? How bad
Right.
does it have to get? So they know it's a problem. They've been put on notice, and they continue to ignore it. So if something comes up, they know they can't deny it.
I would just like to. What do you think? You think there's another department in this country where you have civilians actually fingerprinting and touching inmates?
I don't know, but if they do, shame on them as
Yeah.
well.
I would be hard pressed to find another department that is actually allowing civilians to touch inmates. I would be hard pressed to find that. And I think we're asking for trouble. Also, you can save a couple of dollars on a post. And this was from a regime, the previous regime in booking, where you had a captain that took over that's never worked booking or never worked any posts for that matter. And now that person gets to make the decision and make the statement that, oh, it's totally safe. Well, how would they know? If you've never done the job, how would you know? Bill Belichick's the greatest football coach of all time. He's actually played football, so he can make that statement that he knows what it's like to get hit and play football. But if you're the captain of that bureau and you've never worked that bureau, you've never done a pat search or done any of that stuff, how would you know?
Well, those two positions were cut and multiple others out of booking, is my understanding. So now it's understaffed. They're one of the busiest areas in the jail, and it used to be one of the most senior places to work. You had to have 8 to 10 years on to get down there. Now people coming right off field training because it's not a good spot to work anymore because the staffing. I mean, they need to bring it back.
No, 3 years ago, my best friend who was down in booking before he retired, he had a 6903 P number. I think it was 6900 somewhere in there. And he was middle of the pack in getting a vacation and seniority down there. He was middle of the pack with a 6900 P number. I mean,
It shows you something's
Yeah.
messed up when that's how it's went.
the senior people all left. They all decided, yeah, we've had enough.
Hamm, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, not a problem. My pleasure, Dan.
Appreciate it. And next we have the Packy Chip Challenge with John. Ooh. So I'll wait till Steve gets up here. We'll talk a little bit about this Packy Chip Challenge.
Yeah, let me give Steve his headphones because I think I've stretched them out about 3 or 4 feet. That is a good haircut, by the way. I like that.
Nice product.
I don't wear product. I have a friend of mine that
Stylist.
has gotten compliments from the ticket clerk at the airlines because of his product placement and usage. And his product game is dialed in.
So we have John
Yes.
up next, the Packy Chip Challenge.
You're not bitching out on this one. So let's recap. Frank Mir's here, former UFC heavyweight champion, Bellator fighter, going to be fighting again. Daughter is going to be a champion. He's in the room. John comes down. We say, hey, let's see. John forgot and screwed up to buy the Packy Chip before.
You were scared. I mean, rightfully so. I've been looking up a lot of it, and I'm scared for him too.
No, I'm not. It's all myth. I don't even think it's really hot. But so
At one point, I thought he was going to die.
he screwed that up. And we said, hey, listen, we're talking about rear naked chokes. We're talking about that stuff. Let's have Frank choke you out.
Yeah.
And you and I both thought it was going to happen,
It's
right?
safe.
He came down.
They probably, if the legislator would see him get choked out by Frank Mir and come back to life and not die, they would have reversed their latest law, and we'd be able to do LVNRs again. But John ruined it for everybody who's a cop in the state of Nevada. Thank you, John.
And across the country, it would have made
Set the
national
precedent,
news.
yep.
Yeah, because I think we have 75,000 followers right now with our podcast. Spotify, if you want to pick us up,
Add a zero.
maybe 750,000. We'll see. I'm probably even downplaying that number, but so it would have made national news. He chickened out, didn't do it. So then we said, hey, how about a leg kick? Frank's a jiu-jitsu guy. Leg kick probably not his strong suit.
No, he is way bigger arms than legs, I think.
Yeah, John's a solid, stout guy. It's just leg kick, not going to happen. I'd rather be choked out. So here we go. We say he flaked out on everything else, but he came through. And so
Bring it up front and center, John.
So this will be another sponsor, the Packy One Chip Challenge. We're gonna do this. So I would direct people to YouTube. If you could watch the YouTube of Shaq eating one of these on the broadcast, it's pretty funny. It's pretty entertaining. What's that for?
So John,
This is a full blown no. We're not.
John has 2 minutes where he can't eat or drink anything afterwards. We're gonna put a timer on. After 2 minutes, he can drink. I looked up people dying from this. I guess it's kind of like COVID. You don't actually die from the COVID or the Packy chip. You die from pre-existing medical conditions. And other than passing out for no reason last week, you're a pretty healthy guy. So I think we should be good.
All right, so we've got the chip. This is exciting stuff.
All right.
This is he's
That's a Band-Aid.
that was to cover up the massive cut that he sustained from that 30-foot fall.
Tortilla chip I have ever seen in my life.
That's a normal size.
I've seen
tortilla
bigger.
chip.
Holy.
I don't even think
So
that,
right here, get
I don't
front and
even think
center.
there's really anything on it.
It doesn't even smell hot.
Oh
No,
my.
no, there's nothing.
Smells terrible.
There's nothing
As
there.
soon
He's
as-
making that up.
As soon as you eat,
Are you gonna start the timer for him for 2 minutes?
as soon as he
Smells
eats it,
terrible.
all, he's
I'm
got to
already
get it down.
All right.
I'm
All
already
right.
sweating.
So listen, this is a lot of build up. There were a lot of cops that I talked to that I said, hey,
They
listen,
want this.
on the Frank Mir episode, John's going to eat the chip. They were like, listen, I'm going to watch it just for that. It didn't happen there. It's going to happen now. Get ready. Packy Chip Challenge, John Abel. Let's see what we got.
Go.
All right.
Not hot at all, I don't think.
All right, we're starting.
It doesn't hit you right as you're chewing, right? It's gonna take a minute. Once it hits the sinus, once it hits the mouth, it'll start building a little. So we're 12 seconds in. John, you're doing
swallowing either. You got to the whole.
you're doing great. You're doing great.
Wow.
I don't see any
I
issue.
didn't expect this. His face isn't red. He's not sweating.
I do see
I think we got a
I
defective,
do see a tinge of sweat
a defective
up
chip.
top, but that's it. Shaq ate it, and it didn't hit him for maybe about a minute and a half.
I'm swallowed now.
You seem like you're doing just fine, John.
It's building.
This isn't affecting you at all, I don't think.
Oh, it's building.
I think you're okay.
Oh, it's building, my friend.
Don't turn away. Our viewers want to
Yeah,
see this.
people got,
How much time have I got?
30,
Oh my
40
God.
seconds left.
hey, you
Or,
got
a minute and 20 left.
it's just tell yourself it's just a chip.
Oh,
I'm going to put this timer up here so the
Oh.
viewers can see.
It's just a chip. Could you stop sticking your tongue out? Please. It's a mental game.
how much
John.
time?
The viewers got to see it. You got a
Oh
minute
my
left,
God.
man. Time's slowing down.
Show the warrior mindset. You need to stand there and you need to say, hey, I can handle this call right now. I can do my job. Some little bit of heat ain't going to bother me. Look at that.
You're barely sweating. You're being dramatic.
Can you, what's a 440?
It's a warrant.
You got 50 seconds left, John.
Oh my God.
Give me some important topics
I can't.
in NRS 289. John, you got to talk through this.
What's going
You gotta
on in
make
the
We- It's
John, you got 45 seconds left, buddy.
come on, man. You can do this. This is no big deal. It's all mental, John. It's all mental. There's nothing to it. Nothing to it. Look at it. Time is just ticking off.
It's
totally
standing still when it's so hot.
I don't think though that the water is going to help. I do think that they say milk or something dairy. No, there's
got-
hold on. There's a
we
bar-
got
there's a-
30 seconds left, John.
if you throw up on our podcast, there's a good chance you'll be removed from the PPA. John, you're doing good, buddy.
Oh, dude,
you're almost there. 30
You're almost
seconds.
there.
30 seconds, and then you can have all the water you want. Are you glad you did this, John?
No.
No. Will you look back at this? Will you look back at this in life and go, hey, I did it? You know, some people get tasered and they're like, hey, I did it. I've been there.
This could change your life.
Look at
If you've done this, you can do anything.
You've got this, man.
20 seconds left, John.
Yeah, come on, you got it, buddy. Look, there you go. Yeah, right through it. Right through it. You're not sweating at all.
Why are you doing that arm thing?
I don't know what that's
Is it
doing.
cooling things down?
I think you're trying to fly away. What's going through your mind right now, John? What I mean is there?
You got 15 seconds left,
Yeah,
John.
you're almost there, buddy. I really thought we'd see more sweat pouring. I see it now on the hairline a little. You're doing good, man. I don't think anyone else could do this. Yeah, you got it. Is it getting better?
No. You got 10 seconds left, John.
It's not.
I think you should have done your own time.
So, John, I've been pausing this for the last 5
You've
minutes.
probably been waiting about 4 minutes or so. So let's get some water. Let's see. Does the water help? Give him a Coke.
It's cold water.
Is that helping at all? Is it? So it's not that bad.
How about some milk?
So if you eat the Pocky chip, and then is the water really subsiding a lot of the heat, or is it coming back?
No, it's the
He's-
coolness
he's
is that then it comes back.
Recovered.
Okay.
He's
All right.
100% recovered now.
Yeah, you seem fine. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what. I think you did way better than I thought it was gonna go.
Yeah.
Is the hype real on the Pocky chip challenge, or is it bearable?
Is it as bad as you thought?
Have you eaten hotter things?
No.
Is
Oh,
it?
you haven't. Oh, okay. Well, that's fair enough.
Wait until it comes out in a half an hour.
Feeling good? Still not?
What's that warrior mindset? we were talking
That's
about earlier?
exactly what we've talked about is warrior mindset, and you have it, John Abel.
Good job, John.
Yeah, with an injury, no less. With an injury.
Bad.
Denver Bronco colored Band-Aid. Nice job, John. Yeah, nice job. Nice job, Abel. Very proud of you. You handled that like a champ. You are starting to sweat now, though.
Chicken wings for lunch? All right.
All right.
Clothing?
Get out of our shot, John. Get the hell out of here.
We got business to do.
Great job. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
No,
I thought it was going to be worse.
I wanted.
You couldn't see it. He's off camera now, and now he's shaking.
He looks a lot more red now. He's going to the bathroom.
It looks worse as he's made it out of camera. Oh, man, that was good. Hey, you know what? Hey, John,
He's done.
I want to know if he would still trade the rear naked choke for the Pocky chip.
I would have done the choke.
I would have too.
We need to bring him back.
Because that's not going to
We need to bring him back.
He's going to be in trouble for like a half hour. That's not going that way. Yeah. It's good for him.
I
Good
brought
for him.
Tums, though, for him.
He needs milk and cheese. All right. We bring episode 4 to a close. So to close, final thoughts. Listen, look back and reflect on what our sister in New Mexico went through with that officer-involved shooting. We don't need to look any further than here in our own city when 1 October happened. We had officers getting shot in the lung. You know, Brady Cook getting shot and still in the fight. You know, you're never out of the fight, no matter what you think. When you're in it and you're going through it, and I can't attest to it. I haven't been there myself, but from the people that have, you just gotta. You can't think, oh, I'm never gonna see my kids. I'm never gonna see my wife, my husband. I'm not. You're gonna say, I'm gonna do everything I need to do right now to go home and see those people. And ultimately, in law enforcement, that's the goal for the end of the night. For every shift, every tour of duty at the jail is to make sure you go home at the end of the night and see your family and make it through this career. So, on behalf of Dan, myself, the PPA podcast number 4, Adela always putting good stuff in there. John and his Pocky Chip Challenge. Want to wish you guys well, be safe, and we'll see you on the next one.
111, 110.